Alright, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the Apostle of Great Millstone. Salutations, peace, and blessings to the elect, pushing the truth of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Alright, this lesson is called the overton or overton window. I'm going to go straight to it. Basically, you're looking at the overton window. This is a deep thing, man. Basically, it's a theory, political theory of what you see going on today. This is very prevalent and relevant. Okay, so as you see the overton window, so you see here, a new idea fills the window of what the public views as unthinkable. New idea. Stages go from unthinkable, radical, to acceptable, to sensible, to popular, to policy. Right, causing the desired idea to shift into the window of what the public views as sensible without explaining any benefit of the desired idea. So, I mean, you can throw everything Esau pushes into this. Alright, everything in between here. So, at first, homosexuality, unthinkable. Oh, that's radical. You know, transvestites, unthinkable, radical. Women having rights, unthinkable, radical. Everyone said, fuck that. Right? Anything Esau does, you know, right now bestiality is being pushed, pedophilia is being pushed. That's unthinkable. That's radical. So eventually, it's going to be acceptable, even sensible, right? People, motherfuckers that change their sexes, oh, they're sensible. Wow. Oh, it's popular. Caitlyn Jenner, it's policy, hate crime, okay, bathrooms. Gender-neutral passports, etc. Okay, and how Esau does this, we know, of course, through the scriptures, is through witchcraft, man. You know, he's a warlock. Esau's a fucking warlock, man. He has many devices that he uses, and which brings me to this scripture, 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. You see, so he's not going to get an advantage over us, man, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, right? All these things that are being pushed now, they're at the stage of acceptable, even sensible, meaning, oh, they're trying to push science behind it, and it makes sense. You know, if you feel like you were born the wrong gender, and you want to change your gender, that's sensible, and even popular, you know, in media, and oh, it's cool to do this and that, to policy, right? So this is how Esau pushes everything he wants, and it really starts with Amalek. We know the Khazars, Amalek. So the people who the world thinks are Jews, who are really Khazars, who converted to so-called Judaism in the 8th century AD. So I'm gonna look up this word devices. So Satan, we know who's Satan. You have the spiritual being Satan, the adversary who the Most High created and is under the instructions of the Most High. He's not a rebel. And you have the physical being, the counterpart of Satan, who is the so-called white man, or Esau, Edom in the scriptures, which Satan in Hebrew, Shaitan, meaning adversary, enemy. Alright, the white man has shown nothing but destruction, oppression, persecution towards the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. So I'm going to look up the word device in the Greek, noama. Noama meaning a mental perception, thought, an evil purpose, that which thinks, the mind, thoughts, or purposes. Basically meaning whatever the white man perceives or brings up or thinks in his head, he will put it forth into manifestation. You know, I'm gonna look up the root word, which is no eo meaning to perceive with the mind, to understand, to have understanding, to think upon, heed, ponder, consider. So yeah, you as an Israelite man, you think of many things, don't you? You think of a lot of things, but do you do them? You know, a lot of wicked thoughts come in your head. That's why Yahweh Shai said, in the heart is where everything comes from: adultery and fornication and wickedness, murder, strife, right? But we you know, to the best of our ability, we don't actually want to do those things. Esau, whatever the fuck he'll think of, he'll do it, man. That's why he has his monumental Edomite tutor, Aleister Crowley, who will tell you, uh, do whatever the hell you want, basically. Right? That's the saying goes. Forgetting the classical way of saying it. Um, Shit, man, it escaped my head. But do what thou wilt, meaning whatever the hell you think of, perceive, do it. Don't think of the consequences. Don't whatever, man. All that madness. And I want to look up the word device also in Etam Online. It's a noun, late 13th century, from Old French division. It's interesting to look up these words, man. That's why the apostles push us to look up these words. You get a better understanding. You get a 360 view, 360-degree view when you look up words. Separation, disposition, wish, desire, coat of arms, emblem, last will, from devisir to divide, distribute. It's interesting to look up these words, man. So all these Edomites, Esau that pushes these devices, man, it's all to divide you. It's really to mess up your head, man. You see? So I'm going to go to Job, the book of Job, chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse 8. It says, I would seek unto the Most High, and unto the Most High would I commit my cause, which doeth great things and unsearchable, marvelous things without number, who giveth rain upon the earth, and sendeth waters upon the fields, to set up on high those that be low. And see, that's the way we used to be. We used to think, wow, the Most High, He gives us rain and sends water upon the fields. But now we just think, oh, the weather forecast, we have this system coming up here, the clouds and all this shit, Mother Nature, and we don't give credit to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But we used to be spiritual, man. That's why the different tribes, they had their own spiritual things where they would say, yeah, the Most High does this and that. And we knew the Most High did all these things, but again, Esau, with his devices, says, no, it's Mother Nature. Okay, it's random shit that's going on. Right, earthquakes going on is random. Verse 11, to set up on high those that be low. And who was that? The Israelites. Starting with the elect. That those which mourn may be exalted to safety. You see? He disappointeth the devices of the crafty. You see? So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And another word for enterprise is what? Project. Right? Or will. So he disappointed the devices, man. All these devices aren't going to catch the elect, man. They're not going to deceive the elect, as it states in the book of Matthew chapter 24. You're not going to deceive the elect with your bullshit, man. You see? He's going to disappoint all the people that get caught up in what they get caught up in. That's their lot, man. That's simply their lot. That's what they're meant to be caught up in. Okay? Verse 13, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong, meaning down a fucking cliff. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in the noonday as in the night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. So guess what? Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to protect the elect from Esau's sword, military, all that shit, from their mouth, all their shit. Oh, you're gonna die, we're gonna put you to death, they're gonna talk all kinds of shit. And from the hand of the mighty, meaning Esau's the mighty on this earth. So the poor, verse 16, so the poor hath hope, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. You see, so the poor, we have hope, man, in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. But you gotta continue this work. You gotta push this work to the greatest extent that you possibly can. You see, you can't get complacent. You can't you can't let these devices fool you. You got Esau's devices working within the Israelite world, so to speak, in the Israelite cosmos. Via, you don't have to go on the highways, you don't have to push videos, you don't need to know the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, etc. So this is a serious thing right here. This is Esau's device. You see, and it's a very general idea, because it just goes from new idea introduced, unthinkable, radical to acceptable. But how is it done? They don't tell you that. Media, alright, they push it through media a lot. They try to get some scientific backing, but mainly we know it's everything starts with the spirit. Everything is regulated by the spirit. Esau calls on these demons and does all this witchcraft, and it's meant through the demon, like the Pokemon game that these kids are playing. That's all witchcraft. That's all madness. You see? It's all madness, man. So this is from a very, very general thing, article from Wikipedia, overton window, also known as the window of discourse, is the range of ideas the public will accept. It is used by media pundits. The term is derived from its originator, Joseph P. Overton, 1960-03. See? A former vice president of the Mackinac Center for Public Policy. So you know that dude was up there somewhere, man. Who in his description of his window claimed that an idea's political viability depends mainly on whether it falls within the window rather than on politicians' individual preferences. Okay, and as you see here's another example, right? Unthinkable, radical, acceptable, and it goes, right, less freedom, more freedom. So it's basically another one of Esau's devices. Here's an article from newstatesman.com. Says the overton window is a political theory that refers to the range or window of policies that the public will accept. The idea is that any policy falling outside the overton window is out of step with public opinion and the current political climate, and formulated to try and shift the overton window in a different direction or to expand it to be wider. You will usually hear the overton window used in relation to the center ground and whether a certain party has managed to shift it to the left or right. For example, some argue that UKIP has shifted the overton window to the right by making room for the main parties to formulate harsher policies on immigration than the UK has previously experienced. Right? And he developed this dude, the originator, Joseph P. Overton, a former vice president of the Mackinac Center for Public Policy. He developed the theory in the mid-90s. But we know, look, this is a developed theory, but this is how he's been pushing this from really from 50s, 60s, 70s when he started pushing all this bullshit, because Esau's kingdom was nice and quiet, 20s, 30s, 40s, nice and quiet. Then the Khazar said no, Amalek said no, we gotta, we're shifting stuff here, making women's rights and letting faggots come in and do all this madness. Okay, so I want to go to a last scripture, Isaiah 32. I'm going to start at verse 8. It says, but the liberal deviseth liberal things. Alright? And by liberal things, Salaki. That's not it. Verse 5, Salaki. I'm going to start at verse 5. My bad. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. I'm going to look up this word, liberal. So it says the vile person. Who do we know that to be? Esau. Shall no more be called liberal. Right? Because, this is a good word, man. When you look up liberal, you think, liberal means, freedom and democracy. The word freedom is nadayab, which means inclined, willing, noble, generous. Alright, noble in mind and character, noble, princely in rank. Yasharallah, he's a prince of power. So, when you look up liberal, it really means noble. So, going back, it says, the vile person shall no more be called liberal. So Esau is not going to be called noble anymore, nor the churl said to be bountiful. Look up the word churl, kayalai, which means scoundrel or knave. Knave means like a dishonest person. That's what knave means. Down here, fraudulent, deceitful, crafty. So Slakia. So it said, nor the churl said to be bountiful. Right?